Today I'm going to share a little bouquet with you, two different ways, using the Altenew artist markers. Welcome back. It's time to take two with Therese, and I have some beautiful bouquets to share with you. I'm using the Wild and Free stamp set, and I just want to quickly go through how I designed my bouquet here. So I have a piece of, this is some copy paper, and it's roughly about the size of the finished card. And sometimes I sketch out my designs, other times I wing it. And I knew that with a floral set this large, it'd be really easy to create a bouquet. I like to use one larger flower and then add some smaller elements around it. And then I had a choice of leaves and I just scattered them about. So I do have a coordinating set of dies for this. So I knew it was going to be easy for me to sort of stamp and colour and die cut them out. And I was kind of wondering whether I was going to be doing some painting or the artist markers at this point. So in the end the artist markers won out, so I stamped my images twice, once with the permanent black and the second time in a really light grey colour, and I used the Morning Frost, and that's because I decided to use my artist markers for both of the cards, and I wanted one to be with the lines and one in no line colouring. So I'm going to share the colouring with you today, or most of it. I have the lids off to the side, but if you do go through the link in the description below, you will find a full list of all the products that I've used, as well as a full list of all the colours that I've used today. And I did keep the colouring fairly simple because it is a nice intense sort of bouquet. I have kept the colours the same in both of the cards, and I thought that would make it a bit better for comparison. And when I'm colouring with the no line, well, I'm lying. When I'm colouring with the lines, I sort of use less colour, I'd say. I don't have to be so particular about my colouring, but I find when I'm colouring no line, it does take me a bit longer because people who are looking at the images don't have those lines as a reference point, and neither do I because they're so light. They are hard to see when you're colouring, and I think that that's what makes them look more realistic to me. But colouring with the lines is also something I love to do. I don't have to think about it quite so much, and I think the result really does look beautiful as well. But they do look different. So I did keep the colouring on this line version a little bit simpler. I always come in and add a bit of shading as well. I think it does help, although I noticed with this version of my card I actually did less shading than I did on the no line version. I liked the added depth when there's less lines to look at as a reference. The shading actually helps those areas, or the other areas in the center of the flowers or in the leaves, or the shading really helps it to pop and give it a little bit more life. So here's the full list of colors that I used, and when I stamped my images out I did make sure to leave some gaps in between so that I could run them all through my die cutting machine at the same time. That's just a time-saving tip for you there. Okay, so I'm going to put my first card together now, and I decided to make it a portrait style. I've got a sentiment here which is from the Watercolor Dots set, and I have stamped it with some Obsidian black ink, and I did decide to add some splatters. So this is actually a panel. I don't add my jet black splatters directly to my card front because I find that even with the 110-pound cardstock they show through the other side. If that didn't bother you, then you could certainly do that on the front of your card directly, but I prefer to actually add like a second 80-pound Nina on top of the 110, and that way no one's going to see those black spots from the other side. it does take me a while to put my bouquet together, and this one I added some with glue tape and some with foam dots just to give it a little bit more dimension. Right, now it's onto the Noline Coloring, and I'm doing very similar colouring like I did on the first version. So I chose the same artist marker colours, and what I like to do is, I don't know, I kind of do mix it up. Mostly I will sort of lay down some lighter colour, and that just, I find, wets my paper a little bit more and helps the next colour to blend a little bit better. It also gives me an idea of where I want my shadows, because then if I've used the lighter colour first, I haven't committed totally. So I actually come in with my middle colour next, add some shading, then come in with my darkest, and then go back over the whole thing, generally either with the middle or the lighter or both again. So it does take time. I figured this actually takes me more time to do than the line colouring. So if you are a bit pressured and you need to get your card out a little bit quicker, I would suggest to go for stamping with black ink or a coloured ink, and then colouring your image in. It is quicker. But of course I do speed this up. You don't have to sit through the whole thing at slow speed. It's not even slow, it's just my normal speed. And I do love this sort of pinky red colour. It's almost a coral colour these come out, and I think it looks really pretty in the flower. And they're not, and it's not like they're even from the same set. They actually, I just use it as a highlight colour, and it worked really well. So here on this flower, because I'm doing the no line, I actually needed to come in, because it's harder for me to see the images, I actually needed to come in with my shadows first, just to show me where the petals are kind of meeting. So I always add my shading to the point where the petals meet each other, and then I can come in and add my shading over top, and I always find that that's easier when I can't see the lines. Whereas you'll notice in the first set of flowers, the yellow flower, I just added a wash of the yellow over the whole thing initially, and then just came in and touched it up on the areas where I thought the shading would be. And that was a really easy way to add some shadows for me. I also wanted to let you know that you can actually slow these YouTube videos down if you want to watch something in a little bit more detail. I speed mine up so that I can keep as much information in them as possible, but if you do want to watch something a little bit closer, then just be aware that you can actually slow them down, but it would pay to mute it. Just saying. Now I know that the Altenew inks, like the coloured inks, aren't compatible with alcohol markers as such, so I didn't have a problem using this Morning Frost ink. I did leave it to dry for quite a while before I actually used it. I know other crafters that do use that, but there are another option is that you could come back and do some second or third generation stamping with the permanent black ink if you'd prefer to do that. And that will give you a nice light outline to colour with. So this time I decided to use a sentiment, and it's from the Apothecary Labels, a stamp set, and I'm going to this set all the time at the moment. It's so pretty. And I decided to actually do a landscape style card this time. So both cards are very similar in the fact that they have the same flowers with the same bouquet, but the difference is I've done the no line colouring and a different style of card, landscape versus portrait, with a different sentiment. So please let me know in the comments below which version you prefer, and if you did like this video, please click on the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, it'd be wonderful if you could subscribe to this channel. There's always heaps to see here. Till next time, bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!